Hello, everyone. Welcome to our channel. My name is Uchenna.
And I'm IJ.
And today is the Super Bowl. We are so excited. We cannot wait for the halftime show. It is going to be fantastic. And all the commercials and the game. But before that, we thought you guys might want to pregame with us as we review Love is Blind Season 2. We've been waiting a long time for this.
A long time. Like they should have had this last year.
Yeah.
But I guess with COVID happening, they couldn't really tape. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. But at first, when I was looking for it, I saw Love is Blind. I was like, ooh, clicked on it. But then it was Love is Blind China. I was like, what?
Japan.
I was like, what is this?
Yeah, it was kind of hard to find on Netflix. You had to do some searching for it.
You sure did.
Yeah.
I almost gave up. Remember I sent you that text? It was like, where's it at?
Right.
And I was like, I'm not giving up.
You're right. It's number 2 on Netflix. So people are tuning in. Oh, it's number 1 now? Okay.
I said it should be.
Oh, it should be number 1. Right. So there is a lot to discuss. They showed episodes 1 through 5. So we're going to recap 1 through 5. So buckle up. It's going to be a while. Okay. Okay. So these crew are completely different from last season. I feel there's one person who we already know and don't like, who's similar to another person from last season.
Yeah. I did want to start the show up by the start of the show by saying the pods are open.
Yeah. That's great. I love Nick Lachey and his wife. I think they
have not aged at all, right?
No, I'm so glad that they're still together, so I agree. Yeah, they do. I love that outfit she wore. The first scene, that big, black and green blouse with that huge sleeves and then that funky skirt.
I have to say, I want to say that her outfits are reminiscent of Ankara outfits.
Ankara. Oh, yeah, they kind of are.
Yeah, especially the one in Mexico.
Yes, very.
That was just like, African sister.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with the first couple to get engaged. So there's always a love triangle. And
you see, let's set the precedence for those that don't really know the show, for our audiences that don't really know the show. So it's a bunch of strangers. Women are kept on one side of the building, men are kept on another side of the building. They can never see each other. You are going to fall in love emotionally and connect emotionally with the opposite sex. And how does that happen? You go into pods and you speak to each other without seeing each other. There's a wall, like a physical wall in between you guys. And you sit in this comfortable room with a notepad and you just talk. And whoever you connect with and so forth, that's eventually who you're going to be with if they propose to you without ever seeing each other. So it's saying, can you meet somebody on a physical level and still fall in love with them?
On an emotional
level, without really seeing them, and the physical level will come afterwards. I thought that was an interesting concept.
Oh, yeah, very interesting. Yeah.
So that's the premise of the show. So it's like, that makes you think, do you think that you would have fallen in love with your spouse if you never got to see them, or was their looks what attracted you first?
You'll never know because we don't have any pods.
So true, but let's go ahead.
Okay, so the first people we're going to talk about is Nick, Danielle, and Trisha. So Trisha is like a hoot. She is like overconfident and very materialistic.
Very annoying.
Yeah, very annoying. She didn't really understand what this show was about because she kept on talking about her Instagram followers, all the friends she had, how much she works out, how much people love watching her work out. And that's not what the show is about at all.
Right. It's not, and you can see it on the men's faces, right? They're like nobody cares, honey. They can't see you. Nobody cares how many followers you have. and it shows you being a rather shallow person, right?
And it's a turnoff for this group of people because that's not what the show is about. Right. And everybody knows it but her. And so Danielle was the other person. She was exact opposite from Trisha. She was more sensitive. She was being very, very vulnerable with her feelings, telling her history. And I think Nick definitely gravitated towards that. And that's the person that he ultimately chose.
Right. You know? I think that this show, if you're vulnerable with somebody and you begin to open up, that person becomes vulnerable with you in turn. And you get to dive in deeper to find out why somebody's like the way they are. It helps you understand their psyche and understand what's making them react to certain things the way that they do, versus you being totally ignorant of the fact of they had issues in their childhood or they had issues as a young adult, and this is why they're acting out. So I think that her talking about, well, she's the one that lost 70 pounds, because there was a couple of them that lost weight. Was that her?
Yeah, that was her. Yeah, that was her.
So I think that confidence, that physical confidence might not be there, where that emotional confidence, when somebody's not judging you on your physical appearance, makes people gives people a little bit more push to be more open, because you're not being judged yet.
But it's not only just connecting on like deep, like trauma, it's also just getting to know the person and putting down your boundaries and just having conversations, you know, laughing, talking, and like spending quality time where all you do is talk. That's it. So I think you hear them say during the show, like a bunch of different people, I've gotten to know this person more in the 7 minutes that we had, or the 30 minutes that we had, than the person I've been with for 6 months. So it's just a time to really deep dive and get to know the person, which why I think this show works to a certain level, you know? Yeah. So we have our first engagement, and I always get worried when they're about to see each other.
I know, it's always like,
yeah, mainly because the men are so like superficial. So even if the girl's attractive, I'm just worried that he's not going to find her, you know, as attractive, you know, but, you know, he did. I mean, everyone thought that their partner was beautiful, and that was really sweet.
Right. I was, when they were going to meet each other, I was so nervous. I was like, please let him be all up on her, so that she feels beautiful and she feels wanted and so forth. Yeah. She has a lot of insecurities, and I think it's going to be hard for them to navigate through that. Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I think that's going to be a challenge for them, because of her insecurities. I think it's going to be hard, you know.
Or hopefully he can help build her up.
Yeah. But it's a lot to ask for someone who just knew you for 5 days, because they engaged. I think they got engaged after 5 days, and I think the pods are for 7 or something like that. So
that's one thing I wasn't sure. Like, how long are the pods there for? That's one thing I wasn't sure.
I think it's just 7 days.
That's a short time.
Yeah, but people fall in love, you know. So, or they think that
how many hours do they sit and talk?
Probably a lot, right? Because what else do they have to do? They're either talking in the pods or they're talking in the community area, because there's no devices. So all they have to do is talk with each other, you know?
And I wonder, how many people were there in the beginning?
I don't know. We never really got a count. Yeah.
I would like to know how many people they actually got together there. And then we know how many ended up being together.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So next we're going to talk about someone who also didn't understand what this show was about in the beginning. And it was Mr. Shake.
Oh my God.
He was a complete trip, very superficial, trying to sneak ways to find out how how the girls looked, you know, and they caught on. They're like, this guy is too much. And
he said that he tried to be edgy. I was like, no, you were creepy.
You were cringy, for sure.
Yeah.
And the girls saw right through it. But there was one girl who saw something more than what he was giving, you know, and that was Deepa, but everybody calls her Deep. And it was interesting between the two of them is that they're both Indian and neither of them had dated Indian people. It's always been blonde. So they were actually, going into unknown territory by, talking with each other.
Mm-hmm. And the funny part is that they're both traditional Indians. So they understand their customs and behaviors and so forth. So it was really interesting that he said that he was attracted to blonde women and she's attracted to blonde men. They date white people versus even thinking about somebody within their own race. So I thought that was rather interesting between the both of them.
Yeah, it definitely was. And she was the person who pointed out how superficial he was because he made a comment. He's a veterinarian and he also DJs on the side. And so he said what he likes to do is, take a girl to a festival and then put her on his shoulders. And then he said to Deepa, can I put you on my shoulders? And she was just like, she was silent. And then she was like, you know what? That's very superficial of you to say that. And then that made him take a pause and be like, you know what? You're right. That is very superficial. And then they went and then they saw other people and then they came back and then they started talking more about their upbringing. And she told him that she had, lost 70, she was the other person who lost a lot of weight. She lost 70, 80 pounds. And she told him how it was to be overweight. And then he admitted that he was also a chubby person when he was younger and he lost the weight. And then that made him realize that part of him being so superficial is because of the trauma that he had when he was overweight. And that's why he put so much emphasis on looks.
It's he said it's like a guard, like a shield he uses upon himself when he's going after women and so forth. I thought that was interesting. You would think somebody wouldn't be judgmental towards something that they experience on another person.
Right.
But he was. Yeah. And so I was concerned when they would meet, how would he feel towards her? Would he be attracted towards her or would he not be attracted towards her? Because when they were talking, it was like they had just fallen in love. And with Indians, traditional Indians, they have arranged marriages where they don't even meet the other person. Their family members get together and decide who's going to marry who, and then they get married. Right. And so they were talking about marriage, about kids, how their kids are going to be, about finances and so forth, and how independent she's going to be. And she's not going to touch his feet, as traditional Indian people do.
Right. Yeah.
That was interesting that, I was concerned about when they meet, is he still going to find her attractive?
Right. Yeah, that was a big worry. And another interesting thing about their relationship is that there was no other person. They really honed on each other. And they said that the feelings that they felt for each other was something that they had never experienced before. They'd never had that type of deep relationship. And I think it's because they had a cultural understanding of each other. And I think that's why they were connecting so much.
I totally agree.
Yeah. And so when they met, they thought both of each other looked fantastic. I mean, he couldn't keep his hands off of her.
Grabbed her ass and he didn't just squeeze. He just whoosh.
And then was shaking it.
Yeah.
And they were kissing like crazy all over each other. You could see the passion in the fire, there.
So happy for them.
I was so happy for them. Yeah. So it was really good. And they were both giddy and happy. So yeah, that was really good. Yeah. So the next love triangle we're going to talk about is Jarrett, Ayanna, and Mallory. Yeah. For him, he was like equally attracted through the pods with both women.
I dare say not. I think he was more attracted to Mallory That was his first choice.
Well, no,
Mallory
he
was
said
his
each day it would go, and he did
so
say that it would
each,
go up and down.
yeah,
One
but
day
that's
it would be for Ayana, and the next day it would be for Mallory.
right. That's what he said. But his first choice was Mallory.
Yeah, because
It was Mallory's first choice. And I personally think that they would have made a good looking couple. Whether or not they would have really meshed, I'm not sure. But I'm I can see why he would move towards Mallory more. There's more confidence, there's less baggage, there's less issues. And
Well,
when
I
they
mean, he has
talked,
a lot of baggage.
yeah, he
Like,
does too.
right,
When they talked, it seemed more of talk about finances, the future, what they were going to do from what we saw,
right, yes.
Mhm. Whereas what we saw was when he was talking to Ayana was more of more of trauma issues, what she's went through. She was very vulnerable to him and
Oh, yeah.
open, which in turn made him become open and talk about what he went through with his friend, which
Right.
I would have asked other questions like, why was your friend having a knife?
I mean, how are you supposed to know that? Like, how are you supposed to know why someone has a knife?
Why did your
Thank
friend
you.
stab you?
Well, I mean, he wasn't ready to tell her that yet. And he said they were having a disagreement. But I think for her, I don't think that was the right time to ask those questions. When someone's being open to you like that, you're not going to start investigating them. I think further down and then you ask them. But I thought that he had more of a connection with Iana for that reason. He only told her that traumatic story. He didn't tell that to Mallory. So he felt a closer connection with Ayana. He might have felt more of a physical and excitement connection with Mallory, so I mean, I was hoping that he would pick Ayana because she's so cute.
I was
so
hoping he would pick Ayana too, because she needs somebody strong and protective around
well, not
her.
that for that reason, because she's so funny and bubbly and hilarious, and they played off of each other really well. So
I can't stand too much giggling and too much happiness. I need ungiggling too. But they just showed us their happy times. I'm sure they had quiet times too. But yeah, I'm happy that he's with her. She's so cute.
Yeah, but we got to talk about how he ended up with her, because that's kind of crazy.
That was traumatic.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, let's explain it. So he was, like we said, he was waffling between the two, and then he decided that he wanted to be with Mallory. So he got her, tacos in her pod, because that was her favorite food. And then he kind of asked her, if I were to ask you to marry me, what would you say? And then immediately she started crying, because she was talking to someone else also. So she wasn't only talking to Jarrett, she was also talking to a guy named Salvador, right? Salvador?
Yes.
Yeah, Salvador.
Yes, Salvador.
Salvador is Latino. So she was having, I think, that connection with him in terms
and Mallory is part Mexican, part Irish.
Right, yes. And so they had that cultural connection. And so she was, at that time, she wasn't sure who she would be with. But then when he asked her, she realized that she had a more emotional connection with Salvador. She really liked Jarrett, but her emotional connection was Salvatore. And she told him that. But she was crying while she was telling him that, because she was, just kind of traumatized, because she was surprised he was asking her that question, because she didn't think that she was his number one. And then he started crying and he got upset. And then he told her, you know what, it's over. So then he left and he went back to the common area, started crying. And then she went back to the common area, started crying. And Ayana went to try to comfort her, and because she didn't know what was going on. And she said, you know what, I need some space. So
initially I thought that Mallory had told Ayana, but she never had told Ayana what was going on. She kept it to herself, which I thought was really good.
Yeah.
Because she knows that Ayana is interested in Jarrett as well too, but didn't want to tell her that that's something for Jarrett to say instead. What I found difficult was that the intense emotion that they experience so quickly, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jared doesn't seem like the type of guy who would fall in love like this.
Right. And start crying.
And crying. Yeah. So it must have been, and he said to Salvador that, you know, the only way I'm leaving here is if I'm get married to the person that I want to. I mean, I get engaged to the person that I want. And so he was already thinking about that. You know, he wants to be engaged with someone. And so, like you said, it's like intense.
Yeah, he's an alpha male.
Yeah, he's a complete alpha male.
So for him to be crying, I thought, wow, he was really falling for her.
And
but in the back of my mind, I knew that he still had strong feelings for Ayanna as well. Mm-hmm. And you know, the funny thing about both of them, they were both fair-skinned, mm-hmm. small-breasted,
oh yeah, mm-hmm.
slender women.
Yeah, petite women. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mallory had more meat on her though, but still.
Yeah, but still both of them were petite. So one guy who we really didn't get to see that much of because he didn't find a connection said to Jared, he was like, you know, I don't want to speak out of line, but you also have a really strong connection with Ayanna. Like, why don't you continue to pursue that? And I was like, oh, hell no. You can't go try to get Ayanna after you proposed to Mallory and she said no, because that's the only reason why you're going to go.
He didn't propose to her.
Well, he did not propose to her. But if she would have said yes, he probably would have proposed to her.
Right.
Even though he never admitted that. So I was like, so do you think it was okay that he then went to Ayanna, even though she was like his second choice?
Okay, so the way he phrased it to Ayanna was kind of suspect, but Ayanna didn't let him get away with it. Mm-hmm. She called him, you know, flat out in it. So you guys, in the end, he told Ayanna that he asked Mallory, you know, if I proposed to you, you know, what would you say? Mm-hmm. And that's when Ayanna broke down.
Yeah, she was hurt, and as anybody would be hurt. And,
devastated.
Yeah. And so, because no one wants to feel like they're the second choice.
And that's what she said.
Yeah. And then she asked him, if she would have said yes, would you have asked her to marry you? And he paused and he thought about it. And then he said, you know, I don't know. And then that didn't make her feel any better. And then she just quietly didn't even say goodbye. She got up and left and then broke down in the hallway, which was so sad. Yeah. She's so petite, you know, and so seeing her break down in the hallway was like, oh, so sad.
And I was thinking to myself, so a little bit about Ayanna. So when she was 9, it seems like her mom was a drug addict or had mental issues. At the age of 9, her mom gave her to her cousin. At the age of 18, she got kicked out of her cousin's house. At the age of 17, she got molested. At the age of 18, she got kicked out of her cousin's house. Then luckily, some godparents decided to take her in and help her out, which I think helped shape her to be a better person and so forth. Mm-hmm. So she's gone through a lot of pain, a lot of distrust of people and so forth. So for her to come and talk to this guy, tell him everything that's going on in her life, they have this great connection. And I guess him, you know, and she knew along that he had strong feelings for somebody else. That's the good thing. So, you know what, they said they were dating 14 other people. So,
okay.
That's to give us around the number.
Yeah, 30 people. Okay.
Yeah. So, so in the end, she knew that they were dating other people, but the fact that he actually said that he was going to propose to somebody, well, not say he asked how somebody would react, made her realize that maybe she's not his number one choice. And
she always assumed. She always assumed that she was, because he was hers, you know? Yeah.
So that makes me think, like, if I'm ever around Mallory and him, are they going to be like, you know?
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know if he's over her and if she's over him. So that has to be a worry, you know? Yeah. So then the next day or the next time they come into the pod, and before that, he was confident that he wanted to ask Ayanna to marry him. And so he goes in and he proposes to her, and she's like completely taken off guard. Weren't
you? I was completely taken off guard.
I was too.
because he said, I talked to God. This morning I talked to God, and Ayana, will you marry me? I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Went from talking to God to you marry me.
Right. And she paused because she was like, this is what she wanted. But before she found out that he had asked Mallory, for possible engagement. So she had to like really think about it. And then luckily she was like, you know what? This is what this experiment is about. So let me just dive in and say yes. So she said yes. And they both seem like really, really happy.
And you have 4 weeks to make your decision before you get married,
Right.
So why not test it out for 4 weeks to see where it goes? I mean, that's, I was thinking to myself, for everybody that said no, if there was a chance or flicker of yes, go ahead and try it out for 4 weeks.
Right. Yeah.
But you know what? None of the heavyset women there was quite a few heavyset women in that group.
Right.
Not one of them made it.
Yeah. And it wasn't because the guys knew how they looked, because they didn't.
Yeah, the guys didn't know.
They didn't connect with their personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's
interesting.
That was interesting to me. Like, did they give away their weight by giving a hint of something?
You think that they would do that? I'm sure they kept that close to their chest. That was not coming out their mouths.
That was one of my biggest fears, was like you fall emotionally and you're like, I don't care what they look like. They can look like an ogre. Oh, except for Shane. He kept it real. He was like, she can't be missing a front tooth.
Right,
I was like, what about the side tooth? He goes, I spent thousands of dollars on my teeth. I was like, wow. But one of my biggest fears was that when they would come out and the person would be overweight.
Right. How would they feel?
That would
be cute. That would be a test,
That would be a test. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing's wrong with being overweight. I'm just saying.
No. But, just societal, how people react. But so I bet that makes the women wonder, like, they might be like, I always assumed that it was my weight that was stopping me from finding someone. But with this experiment, that's not it. So it has to be something within me that I'm not seeing, that I need to find a way to like change or improve. Hopefully it makes them do a deep dive within themselves. Everyone who didn't pick, or maybe there was no person, their soulmate wasn't in the pods.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So when Jared and Ayana saw each other,
so happy. Her dress was so pretty.
I thought she looked like she was going to church. She's going to Sunday school.
No, her dress was pretty. It just could have been a little bit tighter. It could have been just a little bit. It looked
like a Sunday school dress.
No, it was so pretty, you guys. It was
that's what I thought. It was pretty, but it's just not for this occasion, Right.
I thought it was, it was cute on her, and she's so petite. He's 11 inches taller than her.
I know.
So he was like, but they look like they fit like a glove, right?
Right. Like she fit right into his arms. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right. But they were happy, and it was good. I was happy for them. Yeah. So hopefully this is who they were supposed to be with. So let's go back to Mallory.
Yes, please.
So she chose Salvador, and Salvador really didn't have anybody else. So he had played, he brought a ukulele or some little guitar, and he had like freestyled a song for her. And I don't know, like maybe I'm more of a man than a woman, but that would not make me tear up and cry. I would be like, dude, don't ever do that again.
So you know what? No, it is the romance in it that was so touching. So if my husband started playing a song for me, I'd be smiling and laughing. Even if it wasn't good, I would still be the hype person and hype him up. Because
this isn't your husband. This is someone you're just meeting.
I know, but it's somebody that you've fallen in love with.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I of course I wouldn't like be like, stop, but that's what I would be thinking. Like, I'd be like, no, please just this is a one-time thing. Thank you.
No, it
That's
was
how I would
romantic,
be.
you guys. It really was
Yeah.
romantic for him to play a song for her and so forth. And the words, I can't remember the words, sorry.
Mhm.
But to sing the song was really romantic. And it takes a lot of courage to
Oh yeah.
sing.
But
Oh,
remember, he was the
but
one
no, but he went to school when he was in
for
college. He took
opera.
opera.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right,
Right. But
right.
he sang opera in school. But the thing that was interesting is that his job was, oh, what was his
He's
job?
he's a tourism sales.
I know. So I mean,
You
like
go to
you go to
schools.
college and then you spend like tens of thousands of dollars and then you're in tourism sales. I would say skip the college and go right into that. Save your money. If that's what you want to do, just save your money and hop into that, you know?
That's what happens. I think a lot of people go to college and end up with jobs that have nothing to do with what they went to school for, or
Right.
they pick the wrong, like psychology or biology. When you pick psychology or biology, you can't do anything with that in the real world.
No, unless
You
you're
have
going
to
to do
take on
research.
another up. You have to go into your master's
Masters.
or graduate program to really do something with it. So you could have gone straight from high school. Hell, you could have worked with that from age 18.
Yeah, yeah. And
Seriously.
that's what you should have done. You wouldn't be in debt. So, but I mean, he got the college experience, he got to sing opera. So maybe it was worth it.
Question really quick. I
Uh-huh.
was trying to figure out, did Jared own his condo or was he renting his condo?
Jared?
Yeah, because
I think he was renting.
Mallory owns her own house. And that's one of the
Right,
things they were talking about. Mallory
right.
owns her own house. And, he goes, how do you see that happening? And she's like, well, we could either live in your condo or live in my house, or we can, or go get a new one and just rent the other property. He's like, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
But I wasn't sure if he owned his
Right.
own or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. He did one
But
say, mhm.
but he is an entrepreneur. Plus, he
Yeah, he's
works
a
full
hustler.
time healthcare consultant.
Mhm.
Not sure what that really means,
Mhm.
but
I
he
think those
also
are the people you call when you're through your health provider, and then you find out
goes through your
information.
insurance.
Yeah, insurance. Yeah, I think.
Okay,
Mhm.
and so he does that, and then he also has two side hustles. One is buying and selling sneakers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and then the other was what?
Oh man. Oh, he owns a traveling
A mobile barbershop.
yes. Oh no, no, he's a barber, but he does something else with a mobile something. So he had like 3 or 4 hustles. I
Yeah,
can't
I
remember
can't
what that
remember
last one.
I can't
But it
remember
was
what.
interesting. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So okay, so going back to them, so they decided. So Salvador then asked Mallory to marry him, and then she
Mhm.
started crying, and then I was like, oh. So she has some issues and hang up too, but she didn't really say what they were, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
I felt that she just didn't know if she should just go ahead and my personal thought when I was thinking
Mhm.
was she thinking about Jared
I
or
didn't
was
think so. I think she was just unsure about the whole getting married thing or getting engaged.
I wanted to say to people, this is not love at first sight. It's not
Mhm.
marriage at first sight.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So you have 4 weeks of going out with somebody to make a decision. Go
Right.
ahead, date that 4 weeks before you
Yeah.
make that decision,
Right. So
right?
she did, yeah, she said yes, but she didn't really seem happy about saying yes.
Mhm.
So that made me a little concerned. He was very excited, but she wasn't that excited.
Excited. What made
Yeah.
me even more concerned was when they saw each other
Yeah.
and there was like a disconnect. Even I could see the disconnect.
She seems not as like excited. I think he's handsome, you
Yeah,
know.
he's handsome. I think all the men were handsome.
I agree with that. I think all the
Yeah, I
men
think,
are handsome. I
yeah,
didn't think Mallory was pretty, but everyone thinks she's beautiful.
but
I
she's
didn't think
not beautiful. She's pretty
mhm.
when her hair's done right.
When her hair is up, I was like, oh my gosh, she looks like J-Lo. Like when they were at the resort and she
Uh-huh.
had her hair up in a bun, I was like, she looks like J-Lo. but I didn't like the whole time in the pods, her hair looked crazy. And then I didn't think that, I thought she was.
Well, it is hard to
okay
take care of
looking.
naturally curly hair.
Yeah, that is true. But she should know, she's in her 30s. She should know by now.
Right. But
Yeah.
her skin looked like porcelain, doesn't it? It looked really pretty. Like she had pretty skin.
Yeah.
Not because it was porcelain, just because it didn't look like it was full of blemishes or anything like that. So yeah, they didn't seem to get along. They didn't seem to have that physical spark when they first met.
Yeah. And I think they both felt it. Like he felt it. And then she definitely felt it because she was the one who wasn't as attracted to him. And he felt that she was kind of like holding back. So I think they both were worried after that, right?
Right. Yeah. Definitely agree.
Okay, so let's go to another interesting
triangle.
Right. It is Shane, Natalie, and Shayna. So
I was so scared. People, I tell you, I was so scared for this relationship. I know it
was actually a hot mess. Like, I really liked Natalie and Shane. Shane is like full of energy. He is not someone I could ever be with because he has too much energy. And
it's not even that, he needs compliments all the time.
Yeah.
He needs affirmation. But he told her, I need affirmation. I need words of affirmation.
Yeah, he told both of them. He let them know right away, I need words of affirmation to feel good. You know? Yeah, but for me, it's just that crazy energy that he has.
And his voice is like it's That would bother me. I'd be like, if you don't use the deeper voice as big as you are.
Right.
But here's the thing, they didn't get to see him.
No, they were just going off of his annoying voice.
Yeah.
But they still fell in love with him.
Two hot girls.
Yeah. So let's talk about when Shane actually accidentally called Natalie Shayna. Natalie got really upset. Yeah. Do you think she overreacted?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope. Natalie is not the type, to me, she's not the type that's going to take your bullshit. She's the type that's going to dish it out to you, bullshit, not take it. And she's the type that is like, I'm just as worthy as you are.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But not in a bitchy way.
Right.
To me, Shayna is bitchy.
Yeah. And if you looked at their relationship, his and Shayna's relationship was just sexual. You know, all they talked about sex and silly stuff, whilst Natalie and his was more deep. They had like real conversations. So I thought that she was overreacting, but you know, after you said that, yeah, I can see why, you know, she's not the type of person that would take that. And so he was like really upset that he made that mistake and that he couldn't talk her out of getting upset.
Right.
So that
I think that's a game that Natalie played good.
I don't think she was playing a game though.
I don't think she was playing a game, but it's by her being upset and leaving and not wanting to talk to him.
Well, no, he left, but her not changing his mind.
Yeah, not accepting of his actions.
Right.
He acted like a child. Wasn't he act like a child at that point?
Yeah, he is kind of childish.
Yeah, he is kind of childish. It made him realize she does not take the bullshit and she will not deal with your bullshit. Either you want her or you don't want her.
Right.
Do you think he knew that she was Asian?
No, definitely not. I don't think he knew.
Okay, because we didn't get to see, you don't get to see all their conversation, but they would have definitely shown that one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So he didn't know. It looked to me like Shayna physically would be more his type.
She's pretty. She's very pretty.
Yeah. I thought Shayna would be physically more his type. And I didn't know how he was going to be this all-American male-looking type of person and an Asian woman. Because Natalie is her facial structure, she's definitely Asian.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
The high cheekbones, kind of rounded face a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
Beautiful hair.
Beautiful hair. Yeah. So, but I think that happening made him realize that, yes, Natalie is a person that I want, you know, because Shayna also wasn't giving him anything. She wasn't telling him how she felt at all. And so and him realizing that he could lose Natalie because he was like, you know what, I'm leaving, I'm off of this show. That made him realize, okay, I really care about this person because she's really upset and this relationship might might end. So when he next saw her, he kind of told her that, right? And so she then, forgave him. He apologized and he was like, "You're my number one. Will you be my girlfriend?"
Yeah, I thought that was so cute.
It was cute. And she was so happy. She couldn't wait to run back into the room and let Miss Shayna know that he said, "I'm his girlfriend." And so that upset Shayna. She got up and then she went into the pod, spoke to him, and he was like flirting with her like they usually do.
And it's always about what you're wearing.
Yeah, or some sex. I love having sex 5 times a day, blah, blah, blah. He's a very sexual person.
Sounds like if you're having sex 5 times a day, you have too much time on your hand.
You're not getting any work done, and that's a
None.
problem. So then she was like, and then he was kind of like playing with her, kind of hinting that you're the one. And then she's like, "Shane, come on, let's keep it 100. Did you not ask Natalie to be your girlfriend?" And he was like, "Oh shit." And then she was like, he was like, "Why do you want to know? Why do you care?" And she's like, "Come on, of course I care. Did you ask her?"
Well, that's why we're here. We're here to meet people who are
right. Being a typical man, trying to avoid the question, "It wasn't me" type thing. And then she finally pinned him down and he said, "Yes, I did ask her that." And then she was like, "Well, then instead of fighting for him and telling him how she felt, she was like, well, she didn't want to be vulnerable. She was like, "Well, I guess that's it." And he was like, "That's it."
I don't think she's used to always being the one she's used to doing the rejecting.
Because of her looks, and looks don't matter here.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. Is she the one with the duck lips?
No.
Was there another girl? I keep getting
Trisha, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Okay. Yeah. So then she got up and left, and so then he focused on Natalie. And they built their relationship, and he's over the moon with her and she's over the moon with him. And so then he asked her to marry him. Oh, but before that, let's rewind back.
So let me talk about that part. Before that, Shayna does come up to him, in the pods. So remember, people, they've not met each other yet at all. So while in the pods, she does, I think when they're in the pods, they probably like ping and let the producers know who they want to talk to.
But no, you have to rewind even further than that, because we have to bring in Kyle into it, because that happened. Remember what happened with Kyle before that?
No, what are you talking about?
So you're talking about Shayna, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about Shayna. I'm talking about what Shayna has to do is probably, because I'm wondering, how are they getting to know who's in a pod? I don't think they know who's going to be in a pod, because remember, he was just like, when he got mixed up with Natalie and Shayna, because I was thinking that.
I think they know. I think he knew that it was supposed to be Nat, because why would she get upset that he called her Shayna?
Oh, so you think he was doing it on purpose?
No, I think that they scheduled a time I don't know. You might be right.
Yeah, so I don't know.
He probably, I don't know, because she did talk and he didn't recognize her voice, maybe.
Yeah. So I was going to go into when Shayna tries to woo him back and tell him how she feels.
No, but before, something happened before that.
Well, tell me, did I miss it?
Oh, so I'll tell you. So before that, since the thing with Shane and Shayna ended, she decided to focus her attention on Kyle. And Kyle and her have been interacting. So it wasn't just Shane. She was also, building a relationship with Kyle. And Kyle's this really cute guy. He's a constructor. He kind of reminds me of like a Lord of the Rings character, kind of. Sorry, I love fantasy.
I love Lord of the Rings,
but he looks like a not like Bilbo Baggins or anything like that. He just has like small features. He's very handsome, but he has small features.
Okay.
And so
I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was surprised that they had that connection of construction work.
But she's a hairdresser. She's a hairstylist.
Yeah. So
yeah. Oh, you think that she's more
bougie than that.
Yeah. But she said that she liked that he was a constructor, that, he was very intelligent for never having gone to school. And he was like,
And she said she never went to college neither.
yeah. And he said, you're very intelligent too. I was like, what? Okay. And then
Because you guys didn't have any conversations that showed intelligence as far as I'm thinking so far.
Exactly. So they were connecting. And then so he decided to ask her to marry him. And she acted like she didn't want to say yes, right?
And he actually brought his mother's ring for her.
Mm-hmm.
And which I thought was rather special.
It was special.
Yeah.
And he left it there in her pod. So he did know that she was going to be there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So she looked at it and she was like, oh my God. She never even mentioned it, which if you're excited, you'd be like, oh my God, there's a ring here. But she kind of like ignored it. And she looked like, oh my God, please don't ask me to get married. And then he had to bring it up. And he was like, do you see that box there? And she said, yes. And then he said, can you pick it up? And then she picked it up and opened it. And then he asked her, and then she started to cry. And
no, she didn't start to cry. She had one tear roll down. She went like this and flicked it off.
That's right. She did flick it.
And that was her crying. I think that was flicking away Shane because she wasn't getting him.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's probably true. So she eventually said yes, but she said that she was engaged before and it didn't end, and it ended, and she didn't want to make that decision again. And so,
which I find very hard, because there is some connection, or maybe maybe she realized the connection really wasn't there, because who she wanted to be connected to, she wasn't going to have.
Right, yeah.
Which reminds us of last 2 years ago. I can't remember her name.
No, I can't. I'm not even going to try. But it was that same scenario, the exact same scenario. So, right. Which kind of pisses me off. So she decided to take Kyle, and she said yes. And even though she was still questioning her feelings for Shane, and I don't blame her for trying again to get Shane. Like,
I don't blame her at all.
Yes, but I don't like that she said yes to Kyle. If she still wanted to have Shane, she shouldn't have said yes.
And I think she realized it, but it was too late. She'd already said yes to Shane. And I do also think that the heart wants what it wants. And we honestly can't. What I like about the show is, like, you can't say it's because the way somebody looks. It's because you've made some type of emotional connection to that person. And so she really did make an emotional connection to Shane.
So do you want to talk about what she did?
Yeah, she went up and she tried to talk to him in the pods and tried to tell him how she felt.
But she also knew that he was going to propose to Natalie. So she snuck in there before Natalie could go in there.
Right, which was so shady. But you know what? You're going to fight for your man. You're going to fight for him. Be it dirty or not, you're going to fight.
To a certain point.
To a certain point, which I don't blame her. I would have done the same thing.
Oh, yeah. I think at that point, there's no engagements. I mean, she was dirty for doing what she did to Kyle. But in terms of trying to get Shane, at that point in those pods, and there's no engagement, he's not engaged to anybody else, I say, yes, go for it. Try to get him back.
But here's the thing. I don't want somebody who doesn't want me. I don't. I honestly don't. If my husband didn't want me, I would tell him, all right, leave. If he was messing around with somebody else, leave then. Go be with that person. I don't want somebody who doesn't want me. He didn't want you, but you were going to try to talk him into it. No, you do. You want me on your own free will.
Right.
Don't let me try to pressure you. What I didn't like was, like, he was upset, right?
Well, he
was like, why didn't you tell me this 2 days ago? We wasted 2 days. You didn't tell me how you felt. It was 2 days of you not saying anything to me at all. It was the 2 days while she was connecting with Kyle.
Right. Yeah. And I don't blame him for doing that, because, you don't turn off your feelings like this. So he still had some feelings for her, and he's not saying that he would have picked her, but they could have explored more time together to see if they had that connection. So I was worried. I was worried for Natalie at that point. I was like, oh my God, he's
Yeah,
gonna
I was worried.
Shayna.
I was worried that he would like Shane. He would like
Shayna.
Shayna.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was too. But then when they ended it, it was so sad. I was like, wow. When did they play that song? That song, Say Something.
Oh, right. What was that? That was when, oh my gosh, that was when Ayana was walking in the hallway.
Oh my God,
Wasn't that?
I
So
it had to do with Ayana. Say
yeah, when
something.
she found out that he had asked Mallory to marry him, and then she left and she was walking down the hallway. I think that was so sad.
Yeah,
So
they were like perfect song choice.
it was a perfect song choice.
I was singing it right along with him because I know the words.
Oh, sadly. So Shane like surprised me and he was like, it's too late. He told Shayna, it's too late.
With
I
his
made
childish voice.
what?
With his childish voice. It sounded like a kid trying to tell somebody, you didn't do what you were supposed to do, so it's just too late. He's just like, you should have said something 2 days ago. It was 2 days missed. I was like, and then he's like, it's too late. I was just
Yeah,
like,
which is good. That means he's
yes.
like, I know he has a strong connection with Natalie and it's too late for them. He's like, I'm past you. And
Yeah.
she was really disappointed.
Yeah.
And he was
I
like,
think she should have ended her relationship with Kyle then.
right.
Instead, she
then
threw his ass over to.
yeah. So then we skip to Kyle.
Well, they meet. Let's say when they meet. Like we didn't
Yeah.
talk about Jared and Ayana meeting.
We
Oh
did.
no, we did. We did.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about Mallory. Oh yeah, we did.
Girl.
Yeah, we did. It was just, I don't know. Let's just talk about Shane and
we have to finish with Shayna and Kyle meeting because we haven't talked about that.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about Shane and Valerie and Natalie meeting.
Yeah, right. But he has, so let's finish with, let's get Shayna out of the way.
Okay.
So they go
over her.
Yes. So they go to the meeting area. The door is revealed and
they don't run to each other, people.
She's too cool to run. Yes. And he was giddy because she's very pretty. And he was like, he even said she is way beyond my level, which I didn't think so.
I didn't think so. Okay, and that's the thing. He lacks self-confidence. Yeah. Because he grew out his beard for her because she likes a manly man. He grew out his beard. And he's taller than her. He works out.
Yeah, he has a great body.
And she's older than him.
Yes. Yeah.
So she's older than him. And it shows in their appearance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She does look older than him. Yeah. She looks
Which was another thing from the last time, too.
Yes. Same as, did they do this on purpose? Did they set this up on purpose?
I don't think so.
Not
no. But yeah, same thing, older. Yeah.
Yeah. So she seems happy to see him, right? He's like thrilled to see her. He thinks
it wasn't the matched enthusiasm whatsoever.
No, he kept on saying how beautiful she was, how beautiful. I was like, stop. I can't stand that. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you over compliment someone.
Compliment me once or twice or 3 or 4 times. But the 5th time, okay, I get it. Now I'm gonna get self-conscious. Like, do I need to look good all the time?
Yeah. Is that all you're seeing? Is how I look? Like, yeah.
But that's not what she was thinking.
No, that's definitely what she was thinking.
She was thinking if this could have been Shane.
Yeah, because he didn't even get down on his knees to propose to her because even she was like, you know what, I'm not sure this is going to work. I was shook on that one for him because just like the last season, here he is all puppy dogs and happy, but the old dried up woman isn't really that happy. Yeah. So the exact same thing happens. And he was like, you know what? Let's just give this a chance and see how it goes. Is that what you want to hear? Is that what you want to say? But that's what was said, And so they agreed to kind of keep on going. And then they walked away from each other. I mean, yeah.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. So then Natalie and Shane, he then proposes to Natalie, and she's happy and excited, and she says yes. And
I
so
know Natalie wanted to run her ass out there.
I know.
Look, no, not look, but Shane proposed to me.
Right.
You know, probably Shane
Shane,
was probably like,
I know.
she probably cried.
She probably did cry. Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of crying in this, you guys.
Yeah. So when Shane was going to meet Natalie, I was kind of worried because
I was fast worried. I was going to skip that whole section. I was going to fast forward. Okay, I did actually fast forward. I fast forward, but then when I saw them kissing and hugging constantly, I was like, oh, let me go back.
Right.
I went back. I was like, okay.
I thought he wasn't going to like it because she was Asian.
Yeah, but he loved her, didn't he?
I know. They had such good chemistry and teasing and happy and all over each other.
I'm still scared for them.
Yeah.
I'm still scared. Even as I watch the show, I'm scared that she's so hard.
Right. Well, let's not go into that yet. But yeah, I agree. But we kind of see why she's so hard, you know, in the previews for the next episodes. So they're happy. He thinks that she's beautiful. She thinks that he's hot. And the sexual tension is there. And they have a really playful personality with each other. And so then they go their separate ways. And, you know, everything seems like really good between them. So I think we have all of the couples, right?
Yeah, we did talk about all the couples.
All the couples. So now we get to the fun part where they go on vacation.
Yeah.
And to Mexico.
They go to Mexico. Right. And that hotel, the resort was beautiful.
Beautiful
resort.
The whole walkway to the beach, the cabanas.
I was just looking at in the entrance, those beautiful cushioned, white cushioned chairs and lounge area was just beautiful. I was like, it made me honestly want to go on vacation. Yeah,
Netflix upped their game because the resort they had the first season was not as nice as this one.
And probably right now it's probably cheap to get. They probably get this one for free because they said, hey, we'll show your name on the thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's huge advertisement. Yeah.
Right.
So let's talk about each couple at the resort. So the person
which was kind of, I was like, so the resort is where the couples all meet to talk to each other and get to know each other a little bit more on a physical
see each other
level.
They already saw each other. No, go ahead.
Yeah, they get to know each other a little bit more on the physical level without all of humanity interfering and so forth, friends and family and TV and all that stuff interfering. They get to really talk to each other and get down to the nitty gritty about each other and see if physically you're compatible or not. Right. So yeah, they give them 2 rooms and you decide if you want to stay in 1 room or 2 separate rooms. So let's find out what happens.
Okay, yeah. So let's go to the one that I'm most disappointed with, and that's Shake and Deep. So they were still like all over each other, like even at the hotel, kissing, talking. He was like, you know, you changed my life. Everything's so wonderful. I want to have babies with you. This is going to be so exciting, blah, blah, blah. And they're talking and really bouncing off each other and kissing and, you know, touching each other. It's like they couldn't keep their hands off of each other, right? And then she's like, I wonder if you think this too, IJ. So then she was like, you know, I'm a little concerned. He's going to see me for the first time in my bathing suit because she's the one that lost a lot of weight. You know, she was a little concerned about it. So then he's in their like private pool, and then she takes off her robe, and then she's in her bikini, and she walks down. So that's the first time he's really seen her body, and I think that is when it changed for him.
I believe that's when it changed for him too, because there was a disconnect at that point. If you watch it, he doesn't look at her. When she's talking in the pool, his eyes are off in the distance looking. If you look at it, watch that scene over again, he never once looks at her per se. He is always off looking somewhere else. When she's talking these words of I love you and I can't wait for our kids and all this stuff.
Exact things that he said. He didn't look like He was not into it at all.
He wasn't looking at her at all. It wasn't even like he was pretending to look at her. It was obvious he wasn't looking at her. And I'm thinking to myself, what happened? What changed? Her body didn't look bad.
I think it was her
honey,
legs. It was her
legs
legs.
were thick.
They were thick.
But
they
she's
were
muscular. She's muscular legs.
What? Well, I think it's sometimes like when you lose weight, a lot of weight.
Yep, extra skin.
Yeah, and I think that might be it, because her legs are, because she has a very small upper half, and then her legs aren't even big; they're just bigger than probably what he's used to. You know, if he's dating blondes, they're probably like,
he doesn't work out.
No, he doesn't.
No, and it's quite obvious on his body. His gut was over his pants. His belly was over the waistband.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I'm sorry, you don't have a right to say anything.
Right. But that's when it changed. And then all of a sudden he's like, he's not attracted to her anymore, when he could not keep his hands off of her.
And then it became, I think of her as my aunts. And I was like, yeah, he said that to Jared.
Yeah. And he was also telling other people that he wasn't attracted to her. Like, and so you know that's going to get back to her. And she is so positive, so happy. And she doesn't even know this is going on, which isn't fair.
She's pretty. She is
pretty. No. And her body is completely fine, but it's not the body type that he's used to see. And he can't get, he's trying. I'll give it to Shake. He is trying to see past that.
He is trying to be an adult.
Right.
What he's used to seeing, if he's a DJ, he's used to seeing the party girls.
The skinny, perfect bodies. Yeah, right.
Party girls.
Yeah. And so he knows that they have an amazing relationship emotionally. They work well together. She's so supportive of him. So he is really trying to get over the fact that he's not attracted to her.
He gives him an 11 with their relationship.
Oh, yeah.
He gives her personality and everything an 11 out of 10. So that tells you he is like into that, but physically, you know, and men, he seems like sexual.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, will he be able to eventually have that sexual attraction to her, or will he not be able to? I mean, we don't know, you know? Mm-hmm. So that was really disappointing. But they're working on the relationship. She doesn't know at this point that he's not sexually attracted to her. She just thinks that they're taking it slow because they haven't had sex yet. She just thinks that they're taking it slow so that they can get to know each other. You know, so we'll see more as time goes by. And then we have Nick and Danielle. Danielle is the one who was also overweight, but, you know, has lost a lot of weight, and her insecurities are crazy. So they had a great time. They had sex, great chemistry. And then she gets sick. And so, virus. Yeah. And so then they have like a get together where all the couples get to meet and see each other. He goes, she tells him, please go ahead and go. I'm not going to be able to go. So he goes. And then when he comes back, she's upset, very upset. And he's talking to her. He's telling her everything that's happening at the party. And then she was like, yeah, and I saw you talking to someone for a long time. And he was like, you were watching? She said, yeah, I was watching outside. He was like, I thought I saw you. And then I waved to you, but you didn't wave back. And she's like, no, I did not wave back. And he was like, yeah, I was just talking. We were talking about commodities or something like that. And she's like, okay, then I saw you walk off with her to the beach. And he was like, what? He was like, I didn't walk off with her to the beach. And she said, yes, you do. I saw you did. I saw you walk off that way. And then she starts to spiral, like getting so upset about him. And he was like, what is going on? Are you telling me that you don't trust me? And she's like, no, I don't trust you. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anything that's going on. She's like, I'm here by myself for 3 hours. I see what's going on. I get so worried. Then I go and lock myself in the closet. I was like, what? You lock yourself in the closet? And she's like, I go and lock up myself in the closet and I'm crying there and you're off there having fun. And he was like, listen, I told you that I didn't have to go, but you told me to go. And then he tries to calm her down. She can't calm down. And then he was like, you know what? I can't take this. You know, this is too much. And then he walks off and leaves. He comes back. They start arguing again, pacing around the room. Then he walks out and then she follows him. And it's like pure craziness.
And
Like,
that is when once she said, I locked myself in the closet, I would have walked over to the closet, got my suitcase, began packing my shit up. Where are you going? Nowhere. I'm not going to get in the bathroom, get my curling my hair stuff, put in my suitcase, zip it up. Yeah, can I get Uber, please? Yeah, airport. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Where are you going? Oh, nowhere. I'll be back in a minute.
yeah.
Myself on out because
Right.
I
That
only know you
was
for a couple of days and you're acting this crazy.
this crazy.
No.
No, for no reason. Like, he is so into her. Like, and that her insecurities are way too much, and she spirals, and she can't even calm herself to stop spiraling. Like, he was taking care of her while she was sick. Like,
Yeah, he
really
was taking care of her. And the gross part was, first of all, I would have packed my bags before then, because if I go to talk to you and you're sick and you're laying next to the toilet eating a slice of bread, that's enough to make me. So I would have walked in there and said, hey, what are you doing? Oh my God, throwing up. I just don't feel very good. Why are you laying there on the ground?
By the toilet.
I feel sick. By the toilet? Like, you're by the I'm like, hold on a second. Pack my stuff up, get my toiletries while you're in the bathroom. What are you doing? Oh, I'm gonna call an Uber to see if it can take you somewhere. And yeah, come get the Uber for me, please, to the airport. And I would have been gone. It's the grossest thing in the world. Just like really quick, this is off subject. Just like on Real World, when Johnny Banana took the toilet seat off the toilet and then took the toilet seat and put it up on the stairs.
Oh my God.
I would have thrown up. Like, he touched the toilet seat. I was like, you, and then put it
and then
on
when the other time when he took the plunger and put it in whatchamacallit's bed.
Yeah.
That would have been
all bets off.
Okay, so going back to
yes, she was
crazy. So they settle down. The next morning, she gets some coffee. I guess they made some deal. I can't remember, to always have fresh coffee in the morning. And so I guess they worked it out during the night. She acknowledged that what she was last night is not who she is, but it is who she is. Totally. And so then they talked and things are better. But he's not quite 100 with the situation, because he's worried.
And he shouldn't be.
Yes.
Because there was no alcohol involved.
None.
Yes, she had a viral illness. Could she have been dehydrated? Yeah, possibly she could have been severely dehydrated. And when you are dehydrated, you begin to see things that you don't see. You act out. Dehydration will cause that. That's one of the things dehydration causes. It's mental like issues and so forth. You imagine things and you see things because you're dehydrated, and you act out ways that you wouldn't be. But for some reason, I believe this is part of who she is.
Yeah, I definitely, because from what she was saying in the pods, I think this is who she is. And so and then she was like, I'm worried that this has changed you in our relationship in some way.
You think?
Right. He tries to reassure her, but he does tell her that he is concerned. So she's going to have to work through that. She should really be on her best behavior these next 3 weeks.
Best behavior.
If she doesn't want to lose him,
because
he's a catch and she's a catch. And she also needs to go and get help. Like, you need to go and talk to a therapist and figure out why you spiral like that, because it's not good. And she will never find someone if she continues to behave like this.
Right. Right. I was shocked, really, to tell you the truth. And in front of the cameras too.
She didn't care.
She sure didn't. I was like, wow.
Right. Okay, so let's move on to Shayna and poor Kyle. Poor Kyle. He is so pussy whipped.
Okay, so let me talk about Shayna and Kyle. So they get out of the car and they're together, and it seems like things are okay.
Right.
And like, what a beautiful couple.
Yes.
She looks like mature, and I guess maybe she's like 5 or 6 years older than him. I got to look it up and see how much older she is. But she does act more mature than he does.
It's not about the whole religion thing.
With them, yeah. So I was going to bring that up, but then we moved on. And one of the reasons why she doesn't think that they're going to be compatible is their religious beliefs. She doesn't seem like a very religious person to me, I
No.
didn't know if it was an excuse on her
Mhm.
part, but
Mhm.
religion does play a major issue in relationships.
Right. But it
You
doesn't
know,
have to,
it doesn't have to, but
No,
it can. If you
it
want to
can.
raise your kids a certain way and the other person doesn't, and wants the kids to make up their own choices, or no, they don't want to bring the kids to church, it can disrupt
Right,
relationships.
right.
But but one thing that hit me when they were sitting down just talking to two of them, she kept putting her ring on her one finger, thumb
Good
or
thought.
whatever. She goes, because
Mhm.
she didn't want to lose it. I know that some women, if their rings are too big temporarily, they'll take thread or yarn and put
Okay.
underneath it to make
Mhm.
it stick to its right side so you can show you're married. So I
Right.
thought that was a little weird. But she kept talking about their differences and so forth, and doesn't know if they can work through it and how
Mhm.
it might impact them, and how she doesn't want to make a mistake or prolong something that doesn't really need to be prolonged. But the good part is he's just like, we can work through things. We can
Right.
still get through it. Let's
Mhm.
go ahead and give it a shot.
Right.
And it seems like things I didn't really see any physical touching. Did you?
No.
Yeah, I didn't really see any physical touching. But, it looks like they're having a good time. But then when it's close to dinner time,
Mhm.
I guess maybe they've already had dinner, so they're just sitting down,
Well,
relaxing.
no, they're eating. Remember, he brought a special meal to them,
Oh, yeah,
and
okay, the special meal. Okay.
yeah,
And it's only seven something.
and
And she
he's
says, well,
vegetarian,
yeah, yeah. So they had a great meal.
but he ate meats to try to keep her, which made me feel so sad for him. Like he hasn't eaten meat in 8 years, but she likes a manly man, and manly men eat meat. And so he was like, okay, I'm going to eat this piece of meat for you. And then she's like, no, you don't have to do that. He's like, no, I want to do it. I'm doing it for you, for us. And so
Mhm.
then she kind of teases him into eating it. And then he eats it. And I was like, dude, why are you doing that? She doesn't
Because
want
he's
to.
thinking, and that's the other thing. If you have to impress somebody by doing something that's not natural to you or goes against the grain of your beliefs, then why do it? That person isn't accepting you for who you are,
Right, right. Yeah.
you know? So that made me upset. But then, and it's not like she was sitting there eating eggplants and so forth for him.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly.
So then he goes, then she said, hey, come and sit down. And
Mhm.
so he sat down and they began talking, and she said she wanted to sleep in separate rooms. And I thought,
Mhm.
why?
Right, right.
Right. It doesn't mean that you're going to have sex, but it's a good time to sit, cuddle, talk to each other, get to know each other. But she didn't want to do any of that. It's because she'd already made up her mind. It
Mhm.
wasn't going to work for them. There's no need
Right.
to continue on. I'm going to be leaving.
But she
So
didn't tell him that. She was like,
she didn't tell him that, but
I'll
this
see
is
you
in
tomorrow.
her mind. She's
Yeah.
already knows all this. And so she doesn't tell him that. And so she just says, they want to be in a separate room. And he goes, well, and he goes, okay. All right, even though he tries to talk her out of it,
Yeah.
saying like, it's the best time for us to get to know each other, cuddle, don't you trust me? I'm not gonna do anything to you, kind of thing. And she's like, yeah. No, I just feel like it's just best for me to sleep in a separate room. And him being a gentleman, he's just like, okay.
Mhm.
So, then she goes, well, I'm gonna get going now. And he goes, now? And he's like, it's only seven something. You're in Mexico the
I
first
know.
night, it's
I
seven
know.
something. You don't want to go out for drinks or go out
Or
on a
go out and walk
stroll,
the beach. Yeah.
nothing, you're ready to go to bed.
She
I was
ran
like,
out of there.
what?
She ran out of there.
She ran out of there and she got and didn't even care how much it was going to hurt him.
I know. But he's still smiling
Yeah,
because he thinks that she's above his station.
this was what gets me.
Mhm.
He had an excuse for her. And he was still smiling. I guess, when she got on that plane and left, that's when you knew, huh?
Right. And so we go to the next
But
day.
you know what?
Yeah,
It still doesn't
he's like,
deter
I'm going to
him.
win her over.
Yeah, I was just like,
So the next day, we're thinking, the viewers are thinking, we're going to see them together. And then he tells her that we're in beautiful, he tells us, it's beautiful Mexico. I wish she was here, but she left back to Chicago. And I was like, oh, you poor soul. You get, cheated out of a engagement, and you get cheated out of a trip to Mexico because his ass had to leave too,
but do you respect her more for what she did
than last year's person.
no,
One.
respect her for more what she did than on Married at First Sight.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
So,
At least she just got out of Dodge and said, not here for the experience. But I did want to see how Shane and Shayna
her
would
met up.
react
Yes.
when they
Yes.
see each other. I did want to
I
see
know.
that.
I know.
Right.
Me too. Yeah.
Oh,
So, okay.
looking for,
So then
but I was kind of happy, but then not happy because I was
right.
like, I didn't want him to see her and be like, oh man, she looks good.
Right. Yeah.
And then Valerie, I'm sorry. I mean, Natalie, I'm sorry.
Right. So let's talk about them. Let's talk about Shane and Natalie. They have like great physical connection. We learned that they have sex several times during the night, and that, you know, Natalie's a firecracker and surprised him. Essentially. And they had this like really playful, you know, relationship. But like you said, he needs words of affirmation. He needs compliments. And she's not really willing to give it to him like she should. Like, it's easy. You look handsome. And she did tell him you look hot, but he'll say something about the relationship and she'll joke about it and like say no. And then say, oh, I'm just kidding. And she does that a lot. And that would get on my nerves. And he tells her it's annoying.
Yeah, when he told her, it gets kind of old after a while. I was like,
yeah,
cringeworthy.
That's fired.
Because, you know, it's no big deal. What's the big deal? Oh my God, your teeth look so good today. What are you using to brush it?
I know. Right. Or, oh, your hair looks so good, honey.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God, you look so good in those jeans.
Right.
You know?
Or you're hot. Oh, I love that t-shirt. It's not that hard to do.
It's not hard to do at all. It's more about you don't want to do it because you don't want to do it. That's why.
And it might be the way that she's raised too. Like if you see the previews, she tells her mom, and she was scared to tell her parents that she was engaged, and she told them that. And so she goes to say, hey mom, I'm engaged. And she said, you want to see my ring? She's like, no, I don't want to see it. She said, and then she slaps her hand. I was like, whoa. And so I think she's from a family that doesn't show emotions, and it's not touchy-feely, and it's kind of like hands off. And so that's what he needs. And for her, it's hard to do because it's not natural for her to do it. But if she wants to keep him, she has to push through that and open herself up to doing that.
Right. Especially if he's telling her over and over again, you know. But what I did like was that they went sailing. He got sick and she took care of him on the boat instead of being upset that you're ruining our fun time, you know?
Right.
And he really liked that she was there for him and so forth. But then she kind of ruined it when he said, you know, tell me something nice, you know? And, you know, it would get kind of tiring to hear somebody constantly asking for a compliment. Like, let me give it when I'm ready to.
I know, but he's needy. He's needy.
Yeah,
like
I'm surprised, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe he was an ugly person and needs somebody to tell him he looks good so that he can feel good about himself.
Yeah, maybe that's
what?
I said it's probably what it is for him to.
Right, I want to find out because she doesn't need those words of affirmation.
No, she should ask him, like, why? I'm okay with it, but why do you need it so bad? Like, what happened that you need that? Did you not get it as a child? Like, or was it a relationship that you didn't get that? Like, let me know.
Didn't sit around and tell us, oh, you're beautiful.
Never.
No,
that compliments was not a thing at all.
More of that's not good enough.
Right.
You gotta do better.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You gotta be. Why didn't you get the A?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, I think I even raised my kids that way. Like they'd be like, Kim, like, Mom, I gotta be on this. Well, that's great. That's the expectation. What do you want from me? You know?
Yeah. Right.
Mom, I got all A's, like he's in college right now. Mom, like last semester, he goes, I got all A's and 1B. Oh, okay, good for you.
You could have been more enthusiastic.
But I didn't. I was like, good for you, Keith, yay. And then he's just like, I was like, well, Keith, it's expected. It's expected for you to get those good grades. I said, also, please send a screenshot so I can see it. Sure did. So he sent the screenshot. I was like, all right, good for you, all right. Yeah. You get to stay in the house longer now.
I mean, when they do good, I tell them they do good. But when they do bad, I also tell them that they do bad. Because lying to someone and not tell them how it is isn't going to help them grow as a person. So they know that I'm straightforward. Like if you're not up to par, I'm going to tell you. And if you're excelling and doing great, I'm going to tell you. So, so they know that that's what it is for me. And you know, I don't believe in that everyone gets trophy culture.
Oh my
that's not
God, I
good.
can't
I
stand that.
know.
Mom, I jumped. Well, honey, here you go. Award for jumping. Mom, we came in 5th place. Well, here you go. Award for
Yeah.
coming in 5th place.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
how it is. And it's like, it's not like that. Like you have to do well if you want to do well in life, so
Right.
yeah,
Right.
we totally agree with
Find some
that.
other way to build your confidence, not through false cities. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So,
But
but he needs that. And so she has to figure out a way to do that, or she might lose him. So like dig deep, Natalie, and bring that side out of you.
how do you think his friends are going to be accepting of her?
I think they will.
Because she's Asian.
I think that'll be okay because her personality is like so fun. They said that she is the female version of Shane. So she's wild and quirky like that. So
everybody thinks that they have such a good chemistry and good relationship.
Right.
I was so happy to hear that.
I know, me too. Yeah. So I think they'll do well if they can get over that because they seem really close with each other and the attraction's there, the emotional connection's there. They just have to get over that, So let's talk about Jarrett and Ayanna. I love them together.
I love them together too. I think that he loves her. She's perfect for him. And he's perfect for her. I'm happy. I'm
glad that they're waiting to have sex. I think that's smart on her part,
Yeah.
Just to be sure everything's gonna work out.
I didn't get to see the part where at the dinner where I saw him talking to Mallory.
Okay, so let's talk about that later because that's a big thing. You didn't see that part?
I saw just a little bit of it.
It's a big thing. Like both Salvador and Ayanna handled that well, better than what I would have been able to handle it. But so yeah, we'll talk about that. So. Okay. So we think that they're good. There wasn't any surprises. They had a massage, they're talking, he got a Polaroid camera. She went ape shit about it, which I didn't get, but she was really happy. And so they're good. So let's talk about Mallory and Salvador. So they didn't have that connection when they met in the pods. Right. But at the resort, they had sex and they had a great night,
Right.
They are connecting. They have a nice, playful relationship. So I think that they're getting along well. And we really don't see like a crack in either Salvador and Mallory's relationship and Jarrett and Ayanna's relationship until they all get together to meet for the first time.
Right.
So yeah, at first, you can see Ayanna watching Mallory watching everything that's going. Mallory
and it leads me to wonder, is Ayanna bisexual?
Oh, because she made that girl crush comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not to say blatantly bisexual, but like would dip her toes in the pond? I don't know.
I don't know either. She said that that's her girl crush. Mallory's a girl crush. And so they don't really talk to each other the whole night. And then Nick talks to Jarrett. He was like, come on, just go and talk to her, stop being so awkward. And they've all been drinking. So they're feeling a little loose and a little bit, confident. And so Jarrett walks over and starts to talk to Mallory. And you could see both Ayanna and Salvador watching them.
Yeah.
And they talk for a very long time. And that would make me feel insecure if I was the other people.
Right. So would you have gone and interrupted their conversation, or would you have let them finish their conversation to say, get it out of your system, you're done now?
I would let them talk for appropriate amount of time. But
which is what?
10 minutes. Like, why do you need to talk more than 10 minutes? It's not like you guys have been best friends for years. You only need 10 minutes. And then I would have walked over, put my arm around them and just stayed there and not been mad, just started talking and getting into the conversation, but they didn't do that. They let them have their time and talk, and they talked for a long time. And Jarrett was like really questioning her about her feelings for Salvatore. He mentioned that he asked her if she liked her wedding ring. And she was like, oh, it's okay. And then he was like, it's not what you wanted. it's not gold, because they had talked about that before. And she's like, yes, it's not gold. It's okay. He's like, nah, that's not what you wanted. I know what you wanted, and that's not what you wanted. So he was making a point of saying that. And he was asking, how are things with Salvatore? And she didn't say great. She's like, oh, it's okay. We're doing good. But it was kind of like, not that good, is how she was kind of saying that. And then he was like, she's like, I've gone with, he was like, we got along so well. And then she was like, yeah, I've gone out with guys, and she was kind of like, Salvatore is really nice. He's really sweet, but I'm used to guys who love sports, because that's what I love. I like chilling, relaxing, talking about sports. And then she said, but when I had been with those guys in the past, they haven't treated me right. And Jared was like, that's not me. That's not me. I would have treated you right. It's like, whoa, dude, you're with Ayanna. Why are you trying to convince her that she made the wrong choice, right? And so that went on for a while. And it was just, you could tell he still wants Mallory, So they never got interrupted, and it kind of just ended at that point. And he and Ayanna never really talked about it. They had like a small little conversation about exes. And he was like, I still have relationships with my exes. And for me, that would be a no-go. Like, you don't need to have like a normal, continuous relationship. And he was like,
you don't need to talk to your exes. That's why they're your ex.
Right. Yeah. And he was like, I don't like to burn bridges because you never know when I'm going to need a job. I was like, you don't have to curse them out. You can still have a connection and be friendly, but you don't need to talk to them on a regular basis.
And you don't need to depend on them for a job. You need to depend on yourself for a job. There's plenty of jobs out there. I almost said something. You need to man up. No.
Right.
No.
Right. Yeah.
What's my husband like?
Yeah. Yeah. And so she was kind of like accepting of it. She was like, I'll deal with it until I can't, and then I'll let you know.
But she did tell him in the pod, and I hope he was listening to her then, since he listened to all of who Mallory was saying. She said her number one no-go is cheating on any level.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Whether it be emotional, physical, whatever. No cheating.
Right. And so they seem like they're still happy. They never really talked about Mallory that much.
I feel like they need to talk about Mallory, don't you?
I do.
Get it out in the open and get it done and over with. I
think so. I think she definitely needs to do that. And that's what Salvador did. They had like a little conversation where, like in the morning, where he said something that night, and then she was like, I almost hit you for saying that. So they seemed to have worked it out. But then later on that night, when they were at their special dinner, he was still feeling some type of way about it. So he mentioned it to her, and she's like, why are you still bringing this up? I thought we had like ended it. I thought we deaded it and we're fine. He was like, yeah, but there's one thing that I heard you say that made me feel really hurt. And she's like, what is it? You had said, we don't have to get married at the end of this. And that made me feel like you really didn't want me. You really weren't interested in this relationship. And then she said, no, that's not what I meant. She was just saying that, we have to see where this goes. And she's right. We don't have to get married at the end of this, but I want to see how it goes. And then she's like, I was really hurt because all the girls got the rings that they wanted, but I didn't get the ring that I wanted. And I felt like you didn't care enough to find out what I wanted. And he was like, okay, I can understand that. But why is he bringing that up to you? Why does he even care that you didn't get the ring that you wanted? What was his reason for doing that? And he's seeing through him. He knows what's up. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. This was, and everybody, I want you to know why this was so long. It was 5 episodes.
5 hours. Right.
But it went by fast for me.
Yeah, it did. It was good. I enjoyed it. So that's basically it. So the honeymoon or the get together ended. Everyone had pretty much a great time. And then now we're going into the real world where they have to move into a shared space. It looks like a beautiful apartment. And then they have to start living real life. And we get to see how that happens. They have to meet each other's parents. They have to discuss finances, a whole bunch of issues, and we get to find out who gets married at the end, you know?
Yeah. You know what? I love this better than I like Married at First Sight.
Yeah, me too.
Because Married at First Sight just throws people in that the experts think are compatible. But in Love is Blind, you get to emotionally connect with somebody before you do the physical. And you're not married right away. So you get to work on things beforehand. So,
yeah.
But it is time for us to skedaddle.
Yes.
So maybe as this progresses, we'll have to do a pros and cons against both shows.
Yeah.
And see what we, and see, you know, it'll be interesting to see the longevity of these relationships. Now you watch, oh no, let's not, we have to do a little sideshow because this has gone on. We've talked long enough, but because you watch the other reunion kind of Love is Blind.
Right. So
so we need to find out like how many people stayed together,
right?
What happened to the cast and so forth. So it'd be interesting to hear that. It really would be. I might go ahead and watch it too.
Yeah, you should. It was good. It was good. It's only 3 episodes.
Yeah. Okay, I think I will go ahead and watch it. So that way we can talk about it.
Right. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel, like this video, comment before, tell us what you think of the show, who you liked, who you didn't like, who you think will stay together. We always love reading what you guys have to say. Right. So please go ahead and comment and turn on your notifications so you know exactly when we post. All right, guys, enjoy the Super Bowl.
Bye.
Bye.